That should go ahead and ignite.
There you go.
Okay, little sticks.
There's some little.
Okay, let's see if it'll get going.
Oh, she just, no, there's a bird's nest out of cedar bark. Caleb.
Come here, son. Come here. Come here. Come here. Next to me.
These sticks may be a little bit damp.
No, no.
There's so many different. We had this charred she just threw a spark on it and then just blew it.
You want to get me a piece of fatwood? Where's Kalon? Yeah, fatwood.
We got enough stick now for all night long.
We're trying to do this primitive style like we would have to. There we go.
Yeah, you see it? The sticks on the side. Dry too.
And on top there is a stove. You put there and you cook.
If you use a stone though.
My bird's nest's gonna burn up before my sticks ignite.
That's really out in the wilderness. You don't have no water. When you're more in the village,
You need it or you got it?
it's something
Yeah.
not quite like that, but sometimes people make it
Do
out
you need
of
any more bird's nest or
bricks.
Put a couple of these in there.
do you need some more bird's nest?
Yeah, because it's about burned up because the sticks are dampish.
I'm gonna get some of that hay.
I don't need the hay. I don't think I need.
By the time your heads will be, you know.
Robin, trying to get that, yeah. But I did do that magnifying glass.
Okay, you see how I've got several sparks in here going now? That's going to give us spark to add to here whenever we need it. It's harder to get it started down in here because you can't control it once you put the bird's nest in there.
And this is the lighter knot. It's got pine wood. It's got pine resin in it, yeah. And once you spark this and get it burning, it'll burn a while because of the resin that's in it.
It's fat, all right.
But it's not as easy to start a fire down in somewhere where you can't really manage it.
But there's more than one way to skin a cat. And there's more than one way to get smoke in your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it's moving now. Yeah. It's gonna flame up.
Oh, there you go.
That's it. You get the fire going.
Yeah, that will burn a while. So I'm just gonna light this. Do you not have a smaller piece? That's okay.
I think I do in the back of the truck.
Now, we use that to get the mosquitoes out of the way. Leave it down.
They'll fly off. Yeah.
They keep on flying through and get in your
I
eye.
remember growing up, my parents, what they used to do. The,
I need a
orange
sliver
peel,
of
they used
this.
to let it dry.
I need you to baton me a sliver.
Oh, man, that thing will do the trick. See there, I have one of those. Actually, I have two at home. I'll give one to Mama so we can start a fire at home.
Now, once this is burned in here for a little bit, you can't touch this tin. It's too hot.
Too hot, yeah.
And it's pretty much to that point
I
now.
don't think even kicking it too.
Because it will burn you.
Yes, it will burn you.
Burns quick.
It burned more than your shoe. Okay, I think we've got it now. So that's how we put it out. All righty.
All right.
And you don't want to put, there's 3 things that you have to have for a fire. You have to have heat, you have to have fuel, and you have to have oxygen. So if you're having trouble down in here, once we threw the bird's nest in there, the trouble was oxygen. Having enough heat and enough oxygen to get the wood to ignite. Once we got enough fuel in there and heat and stuff with the fat wood, it's going to go now, because the fat wood is going to burn long enough to ignite these smaller pieces. This is a little piece of punk wood there. That's good stuff. The usnea actually makes a good fire tinder too. I just have a hard time burning medicine. Okay. When you set this up, it's a good idea to set it so that the wind, if you have a breeze, is blowing. Be careful, sweetheart, this is hot. So that the breeze is blowing into it, which whenever I first set it here, the breeze was kind of blowing this way, but it seems like we've created our own little...
Whirlwind.
Our own little system. Okay, if anybody wants to come and sort of feed it a little bit, you're welcome to. You just have to be careful not to put any sticks in this bottom part, because that's the air vent, okay? The sticks go above that section right there.
Feed it, but don't touch it when it gets hot, okay?
If they're moist, just lay them in the crotch of the stove.
Or even up here.
Dry it out.
Yeah, you can even, if the flame's not coming up, you can put them up here as well. Now we were making red lentils and quinoa on this whenever we reviewed this. And from the time we started the fire until we were ready for lunch was 45 minutes. So, and it was a pretty good sized kettle. It was the kettle that was sitting in there on top of this. You'd want to use cast iron or something like that on here. And preferably one that is not like the coated cast iron, because it's going to get soot all over it. It's going to be dirty once you cook on this fire. Does anybody want to try to feed sticks into it, just to kind of get an idea of what it's...
So you're saying you set a pot on top of those?
You set a pot. You want to... I don't really want to put it on there empty. So I think... But yes, we have the big cast iron kettle that we had in there. There you go. Compare it with how you're living now. The point of this tent is to compare it with what you would have to flee with or flee to if you had to get out of Dodge in a hurry. Would you rather live in that tent, or would you rather live in this tent? Okay, that tent has no heat. Even though that is a good tent and it's not a cheap tent, that tent may last 3 months before it's going to be leaking. This tent, especially with the rain fly on it, there's people who live in these year-round in northern Alaska with the wood stove inside to heat it.
One thing I was going to say, if you plan to live in it long term, it's good advice to build a platform for it to set on.
Right.
It's going to help it to last longer. It's going to keep you out of the water if you get heavy rains, or if you're in an area where it snows, you're just going to avoid the moisture issues.
And what kind of tent this is?
It's called a wall tent. In a wall tent because it has walls. Where that, you notice it's rounded. So this is called a wall tent. You can get them different sizes. This is a 5-foot wall tent because the wall comes up 5 foot.
And he doesn't have any problems in there, even though he's 6 feet tall. The sidewalls are, in the way that the pitch is on the roof, he can walk almost all the way to the edge of the tent before his head touches the tent. Okay, we do have what's called a stove jack in here, and I invite you all to take a trip inside and look up. You can see where the stovepipe would go through the roof. Now, why are we talking about tents anyway? I mean, we still live in houses, right? That's true, we do. But how many of you have your own property besides Uchee Pines, besides living here? Okay, some of you do. Most of us don't. My husband and I don't. We had a farm in Kentucky. The Lord instructed us to sell that, and now here we are, practically homeless. I mean, we're staying with my mom, then we'll be in the summertime with his mom, helping our mothers back and forth. And so we don't have a home per se. In the event that the time comes when we need to leave where our mothers are, we at least that we have several options of people who have property that we can go to. We'll at least have our own walls. We won't have to be a burden on them inside their home. We can bring our own walls, our own heat, our own place to sleep, cook, whatever. And so it's portable. All of this plus everything in there fit in the back of my husband's pickup. And so it's, you know, it's doable. Now the tent itself is heavy. So if you're a single lady, particularly this size may not be the best option, because I would have a tough go of it setting this tent up by myself. It's just heavy, okay? But with my husband and I, it's very doable, okay? If you're a younger woman, in my younger years, I would be all over this. Nothing would have stopped me. You too, you know, you're a farm girl too. So at any rate, it is doable, but you know, if you're an older lady, you're going to have help with this. Another option might be a camper or something. We're just trying to provide options for people who A, can't afford a camper, B, can't afford land or can't find it if they could afford it. It's very difficult to find country properties now. So it's just a way that we can, and we're also told, my husband has studied this more than I have, many of us are going to be moving from place to place, okay? It's really nice if you can take your house with you, okay? I'm allergic to mold, and a lot of the places where we've had to travel and stay have mold, and it makes me sick. And so it's going to be very nice to have something, you know, that I know the history of. So is there anything else that you want to add right away?
Well, the size of this tent is a 10 by 12, and so you have an idea of what to expect when you go to purchase a tent. Oh, excuse me. This is a 10 by 12. And so if you want to look at it, you can say, no, this won't work for me. Yes, this might be too much for me, whatever your needs are. But this is a 10 by 12. And for Danna and I to set this up, it's an hour and 15 minutes. So it really doesn't take all that long. The first time you set it up, though, it's what goes to what. We did a review on this, though, but this didn't come with instructions. But once you've set it up once, maybe you need to mark it, color code it, or whatever. But once we learned, because these were marked, we just didn't know what the markings meant. Now we understand that. Hour and 15 minutes, not that bad. And that includes in putting in the stakes, putting this fly on the tent. We recommend getting a fly, so do the tent companies, putting a fly over your canvas tent, because the UV rays are the most damaging thing to a tent. And so it's not, this canvas of itself would be waterproof. It's just the UV rays that you need protection from. And so this tent doesn't come with a floor, but we wanted a floor. That's additional. It comes standard with the stove jack, I believe, because these wall tents, typically people live in them for an extended period of time and need heat. But you can also order to have a back door on it if you want. You can order it with 3 windows, which we got. We wanted ventilation, or with just 1 window. And so you have different options.
You can even get sides. These, you can get sides for the...
All the way down to the ground.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Now, somebody asked about the price of this. Let me get it.
Well, while you're doing that, I can say this. You made a really good point. Usually if you going to stay on someone's property, the first thing they're going to look at you is like, now, you come and stay in my house and my place, and they get all kind of things going in your brain. But if you can show them you got a little land and you can stay there self-sufficient on your own, it's more of a doable situation, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, we can work with that a little
That's
bit.
a very good point. And for those who may be listening on the camera, I'm going to kind of repeat what, and you can help me because I'm hard of hearing. But what I believe he was saying is it's going to be a lot easier for our friends to take us onto their property if we show up with our own walls, rather than having to pile into their house. You know, everybody needs some space.
Right.
Everybody needs, it's going to be tough enough. Don't make it tougher by piling in on your friends with no walls and no skills. God forbid we should show up with no skills. We should be the most useful people in any community. We should be the most knowledgeable. Okay? Now, go ahead.
I just want to say too, because it is difficult. There are many people who want to get to the country, but the elderly, they say, I can't do it. I don't have the physical strength. The young say, I don't have any money. So do some research. Look for that combination. We try to watch for those things, and we see older people who want to get out. We look for younger people. We try to match them up, because then the youth, the strength, the vigor can be an asset and a use to those who may have the financial means. Typically, the older they are, the more financial stable they are. And so you can bring that combination together too. So look for that. There would be some who'd probably be happy to have you on your property, but learn skills and be an asset to them.
Yes, we have people contact us through the YouTube channel and Facebook all the time. You know, I need help. I'm 75 years old and I have a bad back and I need some young muscles here, you know. And it's hard for me to recommend pairing people up like this because I don't know you guys. You know, I can recommend somebody and it just doesn't work, you know. But at any rate, the Lord will show us and He'll give us answers. So, as to the question of price, now granted that tent behind you ladies, that tent right there is not a cheap tent. It's a marmot. I think I paid like $250 for that tent, okay? But if I wanted to live in that, I can't stand up. I don't have any heat. I don't have room to move around and store my stuff. This tent, the 10 by 12 tent with the awning, the fly, and the floor, I think was right at $2,700. The stove was a little extra because we wanted to get the stove, but you think about it. Where are you going to find a portable home for less than $3,500 that's going to last you for maybe 20 years? If you bought an RV for that price, it's going to leak everywhere. You're going to step inside the door and your foot's going to go through to the ground, okay? So we need to really think more practically. We need kind of to shift our priorities. But again, we're not comparing this to where we live now. We're comparing it to where we might be if we fled with all that we have. Yeah, that's not very heavy. I could run with that if I had to. I couldn't run with this. But we can get somewhere with my husband's truck with this if we need to. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to let you guys kind of walk through. If you have questions, we'll be here. When you go in to the right is the kitchen and washroom. When you look to the left is the other part of the kitchen and washroom. Straight ahead is the bedroom, okay? Yeah. Now, we had actually planned to do a lot more preparation. You can see this device here hanging. We had planned to get different things made to hang gear and, you know, there's all kind of stuff that you can do. You could be very creative in these. But like I said, we got the flu 2 weeks ago, so it kind of, we were wiped out for a while, so we didn't get to do a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do. So I just want to invite you. I think my husband wants to say something, and then you can go in.
I just want to mention the cots. Now, you can certainly sleep on the floor, but you're close to the ground. It's going to draw heat from you. But if you have a cot, it'll keep you up higher because your stove heat's going to rise. But also, too, with the cot, you have storage for underneath that you can put things that can be out of the way. You know, and it's so interesting. We can be inside talking about these things, but has anybody's mind set changed just by walking out here and looking at this tent, the reality of it, thinking, I can see where I'm going to have the skills to know how to bring down a tree. We're going to need firewood. This is going to get cold. We got to heat. We got to cook. We got to eat. All of these skills are going to play into living a lifestyle like this.
One thing I will add about the tent, we ordered it with an extra rafter. The 10 by 12 and the 8 by 10 come standard with 3 rafters, and we felt like for this size stove we would feel more comfortable to have an extra rafter in there. So when you go in and look up, you can see there's 4 rafters in the place of 3. We just felt like that for us was important, so that did add to the cost.
I want to mention one thing here also that we didn't get to, and I don't know if you plan to get to it later, but Has anybody used one of these or seen these? Yes. Those,
Plenty hot.
they get plenty hot. They're great. They're solar showers, but you need the sun, you need warmer weather. But it is a nice option for bathing. And
I have had these solar showers get so hot that I had to add cold water because it would burn me.
so we just invite you to walk through, take a look at, and when you come out, if you have questions, please ask us. And if not, we're going to move forward to our next project.
Well, Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the days of Noah.
So this thing is separate,
Noah built the ark.
and you put it over the top. And what is it
Everything
called?
in the tree.
It's called a
And
fly.
when he could do no more, he had to
And where did you
depend
buy
on the
it?
Lord. And there's no
It's a
way
wall tent
that
company.
that boat
The
could
number
have made it
is
through that storm.
I'm not gonna buy one. I don't know how to. I'm single. I don't know how to set
So the point when I've got all that,
Yeah.
And I don't
just
have a
have to
truck
give
to
it
carry it around.
Yeah, Bob.
Actually, you can get a friend who has a truck.
That's right. I hope you know somebody
No,
with the truck. We need to know. We only have a limited number, but we'll probably have enough. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Julie? Okay, so 9. Anybody else want to make a digging stick?
Anybody else want to make a digging stick?
I just want it. Okay. That's 10. Yeah, we'll have enough to do 10. Okay. Let's come over here. Who all wants to make a digging stick?
pick a stick. Okay.
Yeah, pick a stick and we've got to cut them down. What you want to do, whoops, let's get this bike.
Some of them are too long.
Thank you. What the ideal recommendation for your digging stick is you set it against your chest, the armpit, to the tip of your fingers, and the tip of your fingers. So we're going to have to cut some down. So whoever wants one, grab a stick, we'll get it measured and let's get it cut. Then give them to somebody who's short. Okay. We got one more stick. Okay. We're out of sticks, but we got some that we need to cut. So let's get some measurements.
Okay, let's take the crowd back just a little bit so we have a little area right here. I know, right now, we're going to talk just a minute about the safety. And I want to give a case in point because I just cut myself. The stay had come undone on my favorite knife, and when I went back and grabbed it, it slipped. And this thing right here is razor sharp all the way up to the end. I mean, it is razor sharp, and I cut my finger. So we want to be very careful. All of these knives are sharp, very sharp. Okay, so if you cut yourself, you promise you can't sue us. So you're on your own on that. Okay. When you're working with your digging stick, think about where that knife is going to go if it slips. If I'm trying to work on my stick and she's here, what's going to happen? I very well could cut her. And this is sharp, so it would not be pretty, okay? So this is your blood bubble. You want to make sure that nobody is in your blood bubble. So we're going to have a little space between people when when we're working on this. Okay, I want to get somebody started cutting down the sticks. Maybe Kalon, you can do that, and I need to go get a Band-Aid. See, I did a bona fide cut. So the ones that are too long, we're going to go ahead and cut. These we just cut quickly from the woods the other day. Some of them are a little crooked. They may not work the best, but it'll give you an idea. And the thing that we want to point out, you remember I mentioned earlier about chamfering, not championing. Chamfering the edges. You want to take this, and whenever you're going around, you want to be very careful that you have good control, because if you slip, you want to go over your thumb. You see that? Whenever you pull it towards you, want to go over your thumb, all right? And you want to make sure that you have good control, or you can turn the knife and go this way. And if you're more comfortable with that, and you just want to round off these edges here, okay? So that if you, like with a walking stick or digging stick or whatever, if you have to hit this or you're banging it around or whatever, it's not going to split. That's going to keep it from splitting out. And then one end, we're going to have to put a little bit of a point on it. And so, you know, what we neglected to do is to find some sticks that they could, so you may, there's a log down there, there's trees here that you can go against and cut into the tree so that the tree will stop your knife. We'll help you. We'll just kind of go around and help people get their digging stick made. My husband is going to cut some of these down.
And what is a digging stick?
Give that to you.
Go in the bathroom.
Okay, this is, yeah, this is, these are actually for blisters.
I was
Yeah.
just on the table. It's like,
That's okay. I know where some are, and I'll go get them. Thank you. That was very thoughtful.
I'll put it back for you.
Okay. We can start with 5 people. And what I'd like to start with is the 5 who have the long sticks. This is yours. So the 5 who have the long sticks, if there is 5. 4, I see 4 of you. Well, we can use 5. Well, whoever. Let's just get a 5th in here. But these 4 we need because we have to cut them down. That'll give more digging sticks. A digging stick, I don't know, did somebody ask that question?
Yeah, she was wanting to know.
Did she get an answer?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Tomorrow we're going to go over more knife safety for reasons like this. It doesn't take that long. It can happen that fast. But we only want to do 5 at a time because we need to keep our distance. And when you do this, work patiently and slowly, and we'll give you instructions. Do not be in a hurry because you're certainly going to cut yourself. And so let's start here. Let's get a measurement. How you want a measurement? There you go. Put it in your armpit, and then you go out to the tips of your fingers. That's an approximate. That looks like we could get another one out of that.
This is a really good, this is called a gomboy, a silky gomboy. This is the maiden voyage. I've never used this. I have the smaller one, which is called the pocket boy. And I like the pocket boy. It's probably about this long folded, about unfolded, it's about like that. If you cut it.
And with a saw, you cut on the back stroke.
On these saws.
And so you don't rush, take your time. These saws are very sharp. You want to be very careful. This isn't taking much to get through this.
What's that called?
This is a
Silky gomboy.
gomboy. We also have other types of these saws. I have a Corona saw. Works
Corona's a good one.
excellent. Corona saw, Silkies. What's the other one we have? Is it a Fiskars, I believe? Fiskars. Yeah, all good saws. Okay, somebody can try this one. We'll work this one into a digging stick. Who didn't get one that wanted one?
Okay, I have knives to loan. Please make sure we get all our knives back. I have experiences
Okay.
with all of these. You need a big one.
Rambo knife.
Rambo.
I got a small knife. One, two,
One more.
Can I have one? Thank you.
Okay, another stick here if somebody wants one. Sure. Who else had a longer one? Okay. Let's get yours cut. Probably won't get
You
two.
can use it. Is it James?
Yeah, James.
Okay. A way that you can use it for that, you can actually use this as a chopping tool. Okay. Being careful for your son, you
try
can just
using
come up
the
and
saw.
whack that right off. And
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot. There you go.
Very
See
good.
how much more power, how much easier it is?
Oh, it's backwards, right?
You got to pull back to cut it. Yep. Pull back to cut. Yep. There you go.
You hold it like a girl.
Don't try this over.
And then you can just make a soft, gentle cut there, and it'll There you go. Very good. Okay, we've got another one for somebody who's short. Measure yours. I'll let you cut yours too. There you go. Just take it right here. I'll hold this side. There you go. Whichever end you want.
I think my wife will also take the other.
Okay, very good. I'll take that. Anybody else need their digging stick cut? Put yours, you want to measure it? Oh.
We have some little sticks if anybody wants to just. You want to play with a stick? Please.
Thank you.
I know you're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It just takes one whack.
Okay. Do you want to cut it?
You can cut it right here.
This is black cherry, wild cherry. So if anybody wants to smell this.
Okay.
Some people think
Cut right here?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Did you want to cut it?
No, you go ahead. I use them all the time. Look,
Oh, if you hold that end.
look, I do it all the time.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Anyone else need a digging stick?
Okay,
Okay.
when you're
Okay.
working on bringing the end to a point, you're gonna need to more chop than dig. Let me go get some more tools here. Are you done?
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Oh yeah, you got her, brother. Now, it would be to get this bark off, you want to peel the bark off.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can put yourself a ring, a notch around this.
I got you. Okay.
Be that way you can names. Now again, this comes to the understanding of what a knife is used for. This knife you can do batoning with. It's strong enough to do that. And I'll show you what batoning is. You wouldn't necessarily want to baton with this. So certain knives are for certain techniques, for certain jobs. But what batoning is you can get a piece of wood, whatever's comfortable in your hand, maybe about 12 inches long, 14 inches long. It'll make this job a lot easier. And we typically would be set up a little better, but we didn't, to have a piece of wood or something solid to put this stick on. Then you take this knife and you angle it in the angle you want, and you take your baton and you would hit this. You don't have to hit it hard, but you take it. It's a lot easier than trying to push through. But one of the things you need to remember about a knife, a safe knife is a sharp knife. Always keep your knives sharpened, always. I would feel more comfortable if you had more room. Whoever has a knife, make sure and respect that blood bubble, okay?
So you want to take this and just get it pointed like this. Eventually, that's going to even wear down the break.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would and you did good here. He made the notch. What you can do with this is you can reach in, like if you have your pot.
Excuse me.
Pot on the can.
How are you guys doing? You're probably old pros at it, huh? Looks good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Started on the wrong end first.
They did that over there too. Yeah.
You hold in your business and then cover it with a foot, a stick or another stick or something like that. You don't want to cover your waist with this for fear of contaminating.
Brother Marvin, he's just over here. He's,
Yeah, handling business.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like his. He's good.
Feel that movie, huh? You gotta move it.
Go on this short side.
I mean, just, yeah, I'm gonna sharpen it out of the way first.
Now the ends we don't want real sharp because they're not meant to be spears, but yeah, but just more of a digging tool.
Hey, brother, my wife wants to examine it, but you examine it first, see what we got.
Yeah,
That'll hold the pot?
that would hold a
I
pot.
mean, I can make it a little deeper.
You can,
Yeah.
you can, but that would hold a pot. And then I would, for me personally, I would just take these
Yeah, I
off.
was trying with that knife, but it wasn't doing
Yeah,
too good with that.
and we can use a hatchet or
Okay.
to do that too. But that looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the end you want.
that's right, to go in
Yeah,
the ground.
that's right.
Right. And then peel it off on the back, keep it split like
Yep.
that.
That's right. Here, I've got a case, or do you got the case? Yeah, make sure and get that in the case. There you go. Okay.
Okay, can you show me?
I will show you. Hold it. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I use both.
You use both. Well, I'll show you because I'm right-handed. But hold this not too far up, but probably about down to here. Then what you want to do is keep your thumb below this.
So it's like peeling carrots.
Right, and then just take little bites at a time and go around like that. Okay. Okay. You can do it that way if it works for you, but it's easier if you hold the knife like this and put your thumb here. Can you hold it like that? And then turn it.
Like that.
Can you cut this off right here below this knot? It'll make it a little bit easier. Just use the saw.
Yeah.
Sydney, don't hold the knife like
Brother Case,
Yeah.
what do you think about dehydrated food, all that kind of stuff? You know, like they got them things that you see them on your phone, you know, life thing, and the food lasts 20 years and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dehydrated food in packets.
Oh yeah, like freeze dried and stuff. Yeah, freeze drying is pretty good. We have some in there that I forgot to show you guys. We bought these Mylar bags and they have oxygen absorbers. And for like when you and stuff,
But I saw this
we put
video
the sorbet
with
size
the
in
last
there and
students
sealed it up with an
graduated
oxygen
last
absorber, and that
year. They were like,
No, I don't think that's what they're talking about, dehydrated. Dehydrated, like dehydrated.
Actually get the moisture out, completely out.
Yeah, it's a can. You can buy them cans.
not freeze dried.
No.
Dehydrated.
And they last you 20 years. It was always they use it in the
Yeah, I have a.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it works pretty good.
They have a dehydrator here.
Use sharpening knives on the stone.
Yeah. I prefer that, but this is a quick way. I've got my stones in there. We're going to go through that tomorrow. I prefer a stone. That's what I started out with, and that's what I'm comfortable with.